All right, welcome to the Oceanside Library's Poetry Near and Afar. We welcome everybody here tonight. We are delighted to have two old friends of the program. We have Robert Dean joining us in from Kansas and Jack Zaffos from here in New York. And so without any further ado, Jack Zaffos.
Hi, thank you very much, Tony. Uh, Thank you very much. Okay, today's a special anniversary. 56 years ago, I wrote my first poem in a cafe in a coffee house. That's spoken about in my bio. And this is a poem about that. So I'll start off with that. Called November 6th, 1967. November 6th, 1967, came the inner poet from the land of feelings, born through duress and isolation, born through the search for what is, born for the authentic, born for the search for something I could not grasp, born through sensitive eyes, so I was told I had. Inner poet who knows the rhythms of being, who sees through appearance, who feels relationships and connections. Why it exists, I do not know for sure. A belief in something that moves within, the need to tell the story that I cannot say just in passing. Permitted medium to express the center and to know the holiness within all existence. Going along with talking about the past, I'm going to follow that with a poem called Next Month's Visit to an Old Friend. It's back in 2015. In June 2015. The trip actually took place in July 2016. Time passes, days, months, years, they carry on as memories keep coming through. Sometimes you meet a lifesaver, one who can guide you to the center of your soul and lead you towards secrets, contentment, and confidence. These are the times when you are lucky to meet the right kind of soul, as if they were sent from a realm beyond, where holy messengers are born or sent to nurture blades of grass. A realm I've glimpsed and where I've learned to be a human. Visits to an old friend are journeys to a sacred place. When you know when you know this could be the last time, you know that this is when you'll know the true gift. And on the this is a poem I've read a few times. Actually, I haven't read it in a while. It's called Michael. Sort of following a sort of a memoir theme so far. Michael. Michael's missing. I received a phone call from his old friend, the belly dancer, one night. She said where he was, no one knew. When he was found, we found him missing, a patient at Rockland Site. I spoke with him on the phone about this new kind of world. Soon after he died of a massive attack of the heart, phone call came from the dancer again. First, the news uncertain. She called me again. The news confirmed. 20 years earlier, he called himself Ty Hill, an alter ego he created. We walked the west side on balmy spring days, on warm summer nights. We talked, we wrote, we read, we laughed, and in the background, the white noise of Damash Fountain outside Lincoln Center. We sat in all-night diners with strong coffee and cantaloupe, and the poems we wrote and read. Those were lovely nights. I still have a photo. It is hard to believe that I don't think of him day to day. But my path was so much changed the evening I met him in 1974. I go to places to visit old memories, but people, this friend will not be seen less at the Olom Haba World to Come Diner, cantaloupe, coffee, a notebook, and a poem. Okay, here we go. This is called When Aging is No Longer a Poetry Prompt. When aging is no longer just a poetry prompt, it becomes a reality that attacks you on the bone and gut. It's not something you play with, it's a freight train that takes you. You see how ludicrous it is to think you can hop on and take it. Sounds of your own mind now takes you to places you've never seen. You no longer recognize your skin. You are thankful you recognize what you see around you. Old ancient chants call you, and you think you now understand the tones. You notice the cycles of the moon as it shines on you one more time. Familiar sight, but not taken for granted. Yes, you feel in the deepest parts. You wonder if it's the murmur of the soul or intestinal hypermotility. You're at the time you know it's all for real. When time and aging cry out. Don't get cute, you smart ass poet. You're more than just a poetry prompt. This is called The Arrow of the Shadow. Mustn't touch the shadow, the arrow, the forbidden figure rising from the underground that tempts you like a succulent fruit. Yet you touched it again. You saw the frowns on the faces when you did it before. There were times you were told to leave the premises, or you're forced onto your seat, or hit on the knuckles with a big fat pencil, or given a hard smack on the buttocks. Yet you touched it again. It was against proper procedure, it was distracting, it was even intrusive. You stared at the arrow, everyone saw you. They whispered, he's going to do it. Some even dared you, too afraid themselves to venture out of bounds. So they watched you touch that arrow once again. Go to the villanelle. While all amount to the love he's made, the roles he played in times gone by, all amount to the love he's made. The friends he's made, they knew him well beyond the roles he played. And the people through the years, and the smiles and the tears, all amount to the love he's made. The helper, the healer, the poet, the dealer, all among the roles he played. What happens in the end, what message he will send, all amount to the love he's made. Beyond personas and parts is the light they'll celebrate. The roles he played all amount to the love he's made. Man. Okay, this is called Hello, Old Friend, in parentheses, ledges. Hello, old friend. Times have changed. So much older we are, walking through lives. These are times so trying that will make you weary. Is it that way for you, old friend? We were two sensitive souls in our youth. We were so vulnerable at times. We would sit on the ledge, overlooking a grassy hill. We spoke of ideas and feelings we longed to share. Old friend, memories followed me, and I guess memories followed you. Two, uh, two times I visited that campus, and two times I had to sit on that ledge. Old friend, there have been other ledges and rocks, and I sat on them with kindred souls. There have been altars of love, platforms of speaking truth, day after day of the holy mundane, and now speaking words of poetry. Yes, even speaking words from a gazebo in what was your hometown. Oh, I've had a life, old friend, perhaps putting myself out there, shining lights in dark places, caring for my family, being there, saving a life. Old friend, we can now speak from virtual ledges in this new world. Words, thoughts, and feelings can travel so far, so fast. Yes, I still speak from ledges. I still speak from the deep. I speak overlooking new horizons, not knowing where these words may turn up again. The Villanelle call It's Time Again to Masquerade. It's time again to masquerade and talk the proper talk. It's time again to make the grade. Oh, know the expectations and pine for ovations. It's time again to masquerade. Accolades are pronounced, and success is what's announced. It's time again to make the grade. So put on your armor and act like you're larger. It's time again to masquerade. So polish your persona, even if you don't wanna. It's time again to make the grade. So hide what may be true when they ask you what's new. It's time again to masquerade. It's time again to make the grade. And this is called community. And how I stand with time, Tony?
You're doing fine. And the fact that you mentioned gazebo got you an extra 2 minutes.
Cool. Okay, community, what is it? How do you know you've arrived there? How do you know you've reached that place of safety? Belonging becomes effortless, and the bitter and the sweet are welcome. We're listening and speaking are of equal value. There is no need to impress. What is needed is presence, a place where living sanctuaries are built, and the sacred dwells among us. Okay, let's go to uh, so let's go to a couple on. Oh, let's do this one here. This is called is Ven. You must no. Let's do this one here. I haven't done that ever, and now really good one. Called Introvert Blues. And it's I subtitled it "An Unintentional Drabble." Totally, it flashed on the screen, 100 words. I go, no kidding. So okay, Introvert Blues. Here we go again. It's party time. Time to follow the party line. Here comes the hey, hey, ho, ho, joy, joy. Invite to join the gala. It's time for the pecan pie of obligatory happiness to eat it up and swallow it whole. Please excuse me as I tiptoe down the hall to find a quiet room. And let's see what we got here. That's that's not all organized. And that does not. Okay, let's go to yeah. Right. I'm going to do two more. And this is called "It Is Upon Us." Oh, I can probably put a third one. Yeah. Okay. It is upon us to open up to what is around us and look again beyond the clouds of contention. It is upon us to find the spark of splendor ever present in the everyday. It is upon us to listen again in the stream of life within you and the person beside you. It is upon us to find our fire and flame it forward to kindle the candles of community. It is upon us to look beyond the self-made wall, to make our contributions to peace. It is upon us to study justice, pursue it, and speak it to power. There is no edict over our heads or a shackling command that binds us. We have free will, but there is cause and effect. We all leave our mark. Reality's chain will have another link. In the end, will the chain be strong, or will we crumble from our own weight? Okay, this is called Witness and Wait. This piece, I believe, and it's quite an honor, I believe it found its way into a Peter Dugan Cento. When I heard the lines, oh, really? Huh. Okay, this is called One More Year and the Breath. It's called Witness and Wait. One more year and the breath is breaking, and the rivers flow through fields of grass, fed by mountain rains. As they flow to the roaring ocean, ceaseless, all in a moment of time. As birds sing, the Holy One weeps for the hungry soul, the hurting rage, the destructive pulse of the human shadow. The Holy One weeps for the hardened heart, the jumping, judging mind with the rapid answer. Life waits, the grass sways, the mist visits nightly, the water flows, birds sing. They all witness and wait.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Jack. All right, everybody, you can undo your mute and give Jack a nice round of applause. Absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, and all right. So again, before we start before I throw it to Robert, if you do not want to be in the open mic, please throw it into the chat and tell me. Otherwise, I'm going to assume that everybody here wants to share one non-epic length poem with us. And so now, without any further ado, our good friend from Kansas, ladies and gentlemen, Robert Dean.
Thank you. I'm going to share screen here. Hopefully this will work. It says host has disabled screen sharing, Tony.
You should be able to share it now.
Okay, yeah, I got it now. Okay, let me get this
There you
set
go.
up as a slideshow. First of all, it's great to be back at Oceanside. Tony does a wonderful series here. Appreciate that. It's good to be reading with Jack and see so many familiar faces and a few new ones to me. I'm going to be reading from a manuscript in progress titled The Hang Up. That's a tentative title. I'm writing to photos by Jason Baldinger, who lives in Pittsburgh. He's a wonderful poet, and he also takes terrific photos when he goes out and travels around the country. So we're hoping to get a book published eventually of all these. I think we've got 22 or 23 done so far. So I'm just going to be reading in sequence. Can you all see a photo on your screen? Okay, I got a thumbs up from Alan. So, all right, and I got to change glasses out. This first one, the way this works out on the title of the poem is before the colon, after the colon is the place where Jason took the photo. Well, I was hoping Jason would make it tonight, but I don't see him so far. So, title of the poem is Heaven from Here. A photo was taken in Hinton, West Virginia. The train arrives, or not quite really, still belching, no squeal of iron on iron, no one there to hear it, platform empty, the sign of who we are backwards. Perhaps we have been or will be or are passed by. History on display at the Ritz, an audience of ghost chairs, stacking metal and vinyl banquet on mosaic, depression, tile, floral pattern long wilted like us. Are we in or out? We can't make up our minds. Maybe we'll turn left, maybe right. One arrow pointing us toward the train, the other in the direction it is headed, or was headed, or we remember it being headed, or would remember if we were still here, still performing, still listening for the whistle of time rolling in, the drum heartbeat of shako-plumed youth, celebrating whatever it is we used to celebrate, lamppost flags waving once again in the breeze that is surely locomoting in on the dark underbelly of sky, one lone tourist trying to capture us, ghost that he is and always will be. The lone tourist is down here. If you can see my pointer, that's Jason taking the photograph. Immersion. Jason took this in Fredonia, New York, not to be confused with the Marx Brothers film Duck Soup. Full immersion. I seek the full immersion experience. Thumb and forefinger of holiness clamping my nostrils, rainbowing me over, other hand bracing the small of my back. Around my hips, the postulant's robe floats, a white lily upon the face of the waters, the preacher's salving words gurgling in and out of my ear canals with the ebb and flow of blue-green water, ceramic tiled tubs standing in for the River Jordan. My sins wash away with stains gone before, swirl down the drain hole of redemption when the Lord's janitor pulls the plug. I am pumped for sainthood, pumped to be at last among the chosen, to get my ass up off the sidelines, out of the bleachers, rah-rah, sis-boom-ba, the angelic band down the court of Beulah, land of victory, the celestial spree of slam dunks, buzzer beaters, carried aloft on winged shoulders of apostolic teammates. I'm weary of rummaging mortal garbage pails for heaven's leavings, holding cardboard signs with sketchy pleas, needing canned heat into iced hands, bridges from nowhere to nowhere. I'm tired of the everyday, the 9 to 5, the humdrum, the absence of wings ascending, the void of cars in the lot, broken windows, lack of any wheeze from the AC does not deter me. Christmas lights, after all, are up. I am ready. Sweet Jesus, I am ready. This one is called Breath of the Lord, and Jason took this, and he just titled it Roadside, New York. I forget where in New York it is, but what intrigued me was the little Save Me that's chalked in on the side of the building. This poem has been nominated for Best Spiritual Awards for 2023. They used to call it the orison, breath of the Lord. Whisper strokes the beard of earth, rolls in on clouded chariots, stutters through the break of trees, neglect of weeds, a sotto voce of times past, lives moved on, the arterial bypass of freeways from one congested heart to another, the lowered pulse of voided humanity, the spaces we left behind, the endangered species of memory. This is what I hear in the dooryard of my 71st year, approaching the tumble-down patchwork of what's to come, calling out hellos to the shadowed dormouth, blinded eye windows, at last recognizing the save me handiwork emblazoned under the eave, the scroll that made me stop and get out of the car, realize at just the moment I knocked that this is the place from which I embarked. No longer does a voice cry out in the wilderness. I have prepared the way, and when the door opens, I flicker like a candle's breath across the face of the waters. Jason's photos are just so much fun to write to. I'll hate it when we get done with the series. But anyway, this one is titled Luna Pier, and Jason took it at Luna Pier, someplace in Michigan. I see him on one of the lakes there. Absence. That is what is here, the absence. Fishermen, tourists, cloud gazers, motorboats, the wind, all absent. And now I add you to the scene, squarely within frame, next to laugh-mouthed children. Though can I miss what I never had? Possession is 9/10 of the law. I had the other 10th. I had a ghost, a dream, a few words strung like cloud bellies in air. Love, life, but neither of us consulted a dictionary. That glow, that lost horizon thermonuclear remnant of some foreign, absent, ravaged land. What if I dive in, stroke for it, the butterfly, no, the breast? Can I reach it before the sun flees refuge, before Christ returns and pulls forth fishes and loaves? Can I swim with a miracle in my pocket? For you were, I say to no one, my miracle. False prophet that I am, I had predicted sun in someone's hair, someone's hand in someone's hand. I sit, pull my jacket tighter. Absence, chill caress upon the heart. Titled Old Style, and Jason took this in Blue Mound, Illinois. And there's the Old Style sign right there. This is the place where Slim overlooked the peeling corner of your fake ID and poured you a cold one because you were from the neighborhood. And Slim's brother worked with your dad at the ball bearing factory. And Tiny Spinetti's neo-realist cards were accepted currency all over town. This is the place with the best beef jerky and Cracker Jacks in the county, and where Madge's pink skirt hiked up to mid-thigh when she wiped down the high stool tables. This is the place out back of which you and Albert Gutzman got into your one and only fight, the place where legend says John Dillinger and Pretty Boy Floyd used to hang out between bank robberies. This is the place where guys in VFW jackets left their Harleys unchained and refought Inchon, Heartbreak Ridge, and a hill called Pork Chop, while a few college boys home on break debated the location of a place called Vietnam, and old men in John Deere and AFL-CIO caps puffed Luckies, Winstons, and Camels, the air above them a skeptical haze of Khrushchev, Cuba, and Berlin. Flippers and kickers pinged and dinged from one wall, steel points thunked cork on another, the crack of a 9-ball break came from a side room, money rustled from hand to hand. Mysterious metal ribs across the street kept watch, holding their breath, poker chip towers marching into the vanishing point of history. The GMC out front is not the jalopy you remember, souped up by crazy Eddie Nitschke, and you wonder if you walk through the door right now, with your chip-embedded plastic license and Wi-Fi earbuds, if you can still get an old style in a frosted mug, if Slim still remembers, if the air is still drunk with glory. And sort of staying in that kind of hometown mood here. One side, Hometown Girl, photo taken in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Sovereign of Homecoming Prom, Founders Day, Harvest Festival. A crown is perhaps less dazzling these days. the reflective still of the ice queen diadem some spurned tuba player gave her. Unapproachable, yes, she could be. She had a plan, and attachment to this burg wasn't part of it. Women's lib, she was all for it if it meant liberation from here. But when the feminists marched down Main, she was getting a new do at Betsy's Hair and Nail Emporium. A photo shoot at Vern's would get her out. Vern knew big people in big places. His pics had been in the Gazette, Penny Saver, once even National Enquirer. Flashbulbs flashed, shutters clicked, the phone rang late at night, breathing, just breathing. Men looked at her differently on the street. The preacher preached a sermon that did everything but mention her name. She shelled out $500 for the negatives, and Vern cut the bus for L.A. Dior knockoffs and the epochs and eras that followed shed no hometown dust. Grunge, goth, and saggy were brief aberrations. A veil fluttered white, an organ played, an asteroid fell. And then, on a surprisingly clear and sudden day, she looked around like she imagined the dinosaurs dead and found herself extinct. In this diorama, you can see her eyes enraptured with that dreamy look. Expectation kisses her so lifelike lips. On the other side of the mirror, an elegant Rotary Club carriage awaits. I don't presume to know if she is happy here, twinkling in the heaven of her hometown lore, but she has that glow, just as she did in those high-flying moments right before each regal wave. This one is titled The Hang Up, and Jason took this in Walkersville, West Virginia. It's kind of a favorite of both his and mine. The Hang Up. They hear it in Ohio, Pennsylvania, the cotton fields of the Llano Estacado, the gator lands of South Florida, the bottom of Crater Lake. Tsunami warnings siren across the Pacific. 3 mountains in the Hindu Kush implode. Blood stains your connection to civilization. You didn't know Bakelite could cut so deep. It's 1983 and she's told you don't color again, no matter if you're lost in the woods in Hicksville or wherever, falling off a cliff. Sinking in quicksand, goodbye, good riddance, good God. Hasn't she had enough? Haven't you? Here you are, 4 decades, 3 divorces, 2 heart attacks, 6 grandkids later, the middle of nowhere return, sanity hanging by a thread. You wish you could pick it up, put it back together, punch the right numbers, say I'm sorry, wondering, isn't life funny how you found it again? How this thing is still here? Your anger, your hang up, if only you'd known. Leaves rustle. Wind blusters in the open window. You start the car, head for the interstate. That lunatic asylum you saw in Weston. Shuttered now, tourists and ghost hunters only. Poems of the lost tattooed on therapy room walls. You happen to have a crayon on you. In the rear view, the phone rings. Three more left. Temporarily condemned. Photo taken in Zanesville, Ohio. Please pardon our inconvenience. Our world, it seems, has gone to hell. We have reached out to Dante, but Virgil is missing and Beatrice has turned a cold shoulder. We would offer up the Grail Cup behind us, but you cannot come in to collect, and we are condemned to adhere to the rules, or more specifically, this window pane, that we are happy here, as you can see from our prayerful aspect and lustrous long lashes. With a blush, we offer our hearts, our full lips, and a phone number you can call should you have any remodeling needs, though so far it has not done us much good. We hope for better connection in the next incarnation. We hope for a better world to come. We hope you will be kind. Namaste. Welcome. The sky is falling. We hope. Subject 2, taken in Weirton, West Virginia. Jason seems to like West Virginia. Yes, it's a cold day in hell here at random checking. We probe everywhere. Groin, spleen, thyroid. What's inside that left eyeball? Never mind, we'll find it. Body cavity? We don't search and we make them. We prefer a running start. You went out, we went in. What'd you have for breakfast yesterday? We want to know. We keep spreadsheets, actuarial tables, risk neutral measures. We report to everybody. We use linotype, teletype, genotype, stereotype. and for a nominal fee, we'll archetype. Perhaps you misunderstood the sign. We don't check randomly, we check for randomicity. Think your event horizon is undetectable? Think again, Einstein. Nothing escapes our probing metal fingers. Oh, and your ID? We already have it. Pondering that call box now, huh? The one labeled phone? Go ahead, try and open it. It might work, might not. And the last one is standard time, taken once again in West Virginia, Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And I don't know if you can make it out or not, but in the clock face, above the little dot in the middle, it says Howard X. Miller. And that kind of intrigued me to get going on this thing. Standard time. Is this how the world ends? One screw loose and it all falls apart. Everything we know, everything we love, everything we are screeches to a halt. Empty streets straight out of the twilight zone. Traffic lights stuck on red. What's the point of a no right turn sign if we never make it to the intersection? On the other hand, pun intended, go left, young man. This crossroads has got an angle, but the march of time is at parade rest and we can't see it. Wasps or the spawn of some devil prairie weed lie feet up beneath the even keel of eternity. Question is, when did we join them? The empty storefront sells no answers. The sky threatens but will never carry through. We, however, have no time on our hands, and we are coming for you, Howard X. Miller. And that is the end.
Wonderful.
Out of screen share here.
Yeah, okay.
Get it, stop share.
There we go. Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Bob. Thank you very much. All right, let's have move the spotlight. Let's have a nice round of applause for both of our features tonight. Great jobs. All right, listen to that roar. Okay.
That was great. I love your partnership with Jason. It's just amazing.
Really good. All right. Okay, so we're going to start our open mic again, and one non-epic length poem. If you're doing haiku, you can read them twice, and you can do 2 or 3. That's fine. We're going to start off with Alan first, and Judy Turk on deck. Where'd Alan go?
Yeah, I'm here. You got me, Tony?
I gotcha. Go.
Okay. Very good. The original title of this poem was What the Hell, because I didn't know what to think, and it's evolved into Prayer for the Non-Believer. Come on, we can pray as well as anyone, if only we suspend our disbelief and try. The bombs are dropping on a hospital, so we pray at least it wasn't us. Is that too much? Not enough? If so, then let's go all the way and pray that the bombs will stop. Let them be bursting in air, the way we've always sung so happily about them since the time we were young. Or better yet, beaten into plowshares. Though we've never known what plowshares are, oh God, if you're out there, I swear, I'll call Amazon and order some. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. All right. Judy, you're up, and Julian, you're on deck.
Super. Oh, I'm glad to be back. First time ever. I got kicked out and I couldn't get back in again. Very odd. So today I'm celebrating this beautiful brand new anthology put out by the North Sea the North Sea Poetry Scene Press. I actually have a friend in here from County Cork, Ireland. And I'm going to read a poem that I wrote in Worcester, England, in a reading. Restorative. A break in the lawnmower song. A brief respite before the leaf blower takes over. A break in a sea of sorrow, drowning, missing you. Finally, at last, sleep. A break in bird chatter. A monarch arrives, twirls, pageants off to another yard. A break in the workday lunch on a park bench. A squirrel stops by. A break in the fence. A walkway beckons me to leave the road, enter a dreamscape. A break in torrential rain, puddles ripple with wiggles of earthworms. A break in the poetry event, chance to refresh my drink. I'll read in the second half. A break in the hedgerow, safe from prying eyes, mommy bunnies and babies. A break in a too busy day. The dogs deliver us tennis ball. I toss, they retrieve, play, play, play. A break in a regrettable movie with an awful commercial. I turn it off. I'd rather be writing. A break in the clouds, serene midnight breeze. The moon beams me a smile. Thank you.
Ah, thank you so much. All right. Well, Julian apparently left us, so I'm going to call on Ann Cohen. If you could go next, and then Christine, you're on deck.
Okay, wonderful reading tonight. It's metaphysical, spiritual, everything. What a journey. Loved it. This is fairly new. It's kind of a work in progress. It's called Transplanted. After the deluge, we waited a day before digging, expecting our spades to slice through soil like hot knives through butter. Tangled stems confronted us, mounds of roots and tubers tightly intertwined as if resenting the intrusion. I imagined how you'd chide for the disruption to your flower beds. My husband shook his head. Your mother would say, take more. She'd rather those peonies went to family than to strangers. Back home, we wrestled unwieldy clumps and stalks into a shallow trench beneath our bedroom window, uncertain that proper planting depth was achieved. We brushed dirt from our hands, silently praying our labor would take root, just as you did when transplanted from your beloved homeland nearly 75 years ago.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Really beautiful. Thank you. All right, Christine, you're up, and Mark, you're on deck.
Okay. This is a poem written for my best friend in high school who always wanted to be a soap opera star. Soap opera, epigram. On the Hollywood Walk of Fame, there are 2,700 stars of pink terrazzo as a background to the 5-point stars rimmed of brass, and you've always wanted to have one of them. Your life has been like one giant soap opera, sex with one boyfriend after another, 3 marriages all gone bad, and bipolar episode after bipolar episode, never getting along with your mom, who beat you when you were young because she accused you of being a liar, instead of her appreciating that you were an actor. Years later, as you lay upon your deathbed with some incurable disease, with a name that only doctors can pronounce, you will be miraculously cured after taking a long hiatus, while thousands of your fans lay upon their couches 5 days a week crying, unable to separate reality from your screen celebrity. Then, while strolling down Hollywood Walk of Fame, someone caught you out of character. You denied that you were she. You claimed you were just a look-alike. More lies. The industry is filled with them, built upon them, and you learned young. Mama never did understand that she could not beat it out of you. You are an actor in your soul. You enjoyed living one giant soap opera.
Thank you. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Okay, so we've got Mark, you're up, and Betsy, you're on deck.
Okay, thank you, Tony. Sniffing out clues. A Sunday dinner. Turkey drumsticks swimming in gravy and stovetop stuffing, with sides of collard greens and mac and cheese. All now firmly entrenched in digestive system, as sun has set, and now it is the lamp's turn to light up the window blinds, this time from the other side. Barely a sound in the apartment, a relative peace and calm for the so-called football Sunday. But better to set myself on couch under smooth as silk burgundy fleece blanket and dream, rather than to curse and scream at screen. Mind wanders like a cartoon hunter. Pen follows somewhat behind, sniffing out clues, ultimately meandering into a different direction. Pen slows, barks, and waits for Hunter to catch up. The chase is on under stucco clouds that persist after stormy work week imparted its deluge. A mental landscape left in puddles, clipped branches, and overturned trash. A plane engine momentarily breaks through. In its wake is no chemtrail, just a reminder the outside world is still there and it can disrupt the flow of dreamful self-healing whenever it wishes. Even so, the hunter and his pen return to the obstacle course and the purpose of their mission, sniffing at dirt and looking for paw prints.
Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
job. All right.
Thank you.
Betsy, you're up. Are there any in you're on deck?
Okay. I was debating, but Wednesday would have been my mother's 91st birthday, and she's been gone since 2000. So I decided I wanted to read a poem for her. It's called Sillage, which basically means the trail that you leave behind you, the scent that you leave behind you. I dream of Jeannie on a trail of vapors you come. As I crack open the cracked box, I slip through a scented wormhole of space and time to the heart of the matter. In another dimension, I follow close behind on the essence of you, the bass notes left in the bottle. My conscious mind amnesiac, but my primitive nose remembers. Scent remains unperturbed. A complex perfume, imported, outlasting you and your body. French, at your service, no memorial except your legacy of language and luxury. The box sits on the shelf, idle until I need you, and then with one whiff I follow, transported to a splintered realm. Holy, holy, holy. Shadowed and strung with tripwires, nurture and neglect, ice and fire. Memories dissipate like a genie after 3 wishes are spent. My first and only wish would be that this fragrance lingers until I too depart, leaving my own olfactory trace in my wake. The bottle tightly stoppered to preserve my mothered memories, perfumed, only the best notes remain. And I still have, this is the bottle I still have, and it really, it's amazing how, scent brings back so many emotions. So I'm so glad that there's still a little bit left in there.
It sure
Thank
does.
you.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you.
All
What
right.
is that, Betsy?
Betsy, you were asked what scent was that?
It's it is Parur. It's a Guerlain, Guerlain, and it's got a little tiny bit in the bottle. And I keep it next to me with a picture of my mom all the time.
That's really cool. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
grateful
you.
to have it still. Thank you.
All right. Adarinian, you're up, and Ann F., you're on deck.
Hi,
There she
everyone.
is. How are you tonight?
I'm fine, thank you. Great readings, everyone. Tonight, I have the verdict. Like a script that traveled around 3 times a tour, the gratitude and thanks for parading your poems on stage in front of judges, fingers crossed, bated breath, impatiently waiting for their conclusion about your submission. Then arrives the message, glued to compliments, expressing the awesomeness of your writing, the rarity of the honor to read your work. You get excited, but you can't tell for sure where this is going. So you continue to travel down the path of words until you arrive at rejection station. Then comes the not in my backyard, beautifully wrapped suggestion that you send your work somewhere else with the hope that it might get adopted and find a forever home in some publicist's book. But many of the houses on that row, they share the same no. The missing part, the reason for the exclusion of your written oration, or what you could do to increase the probability of having your work not only read and appreciated, but standing, sitting, or even walking next to the written words of the selected in publication, whether in print or electronically. Ultimately, your work stands alone, sadly wondering if it was something it did. Perhaps it wore the wrong outfit for a different party, or there were simply so many good writers, and the only thing that separated them was random selection. But ouch! No matter how thick the rejection is sandwiched between the slices of flattering remarks and goodwill, you just can't ignore the bland taste or the sand-like grains your teeth were made to bite into. And then, like a silly-headed poet, you respond with a thank you note because you conclude this form of rebuff was better than the long-term silent treatment that forces you to read between the invisible lines. And it becomes obvious your thoughts, they didn't make the cut. With time, you figure out it's better to build a forever home for your words to reside, live together where no one is rejected. Thank you.
Now, we've all been there. We have all been there. All right. Thank you so much. Okay, Ann F., you're up, and Barbara, you're on deck.
Oops. Okay, this is called The Path. The path seems long and winding. It is long and winding. Over the hills, you cannot see what is ahead. Step by step is the way. The path is made by walking. By walking, we make the paths. Fear hinders that first step. Courage takes it anyway. The present moment is the secret. It is the only unswerving, steadfast vehicle.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. So that's Ann. So Barbara, you're up, and Dee Dee, you're on deck.
Hi, Hi, everyone. Thank you very much. Is this Barbara?
Yes,
Oh,
you're,
that's
yes,
okay.
that Barb,
This
nope,
Barbara.
you
Okay.
Barbara.
There's so many Barbaras these days. Okay, this one's called Trust. I used to open my eyes when we kissed to see if you closed yours, but I don't think you did the same. How would I know unless we both opened our eyes at the same time? And we never did. I opened my eyes too much. Love doesn't really work that way. I opened my eyes too much and chased away what I saw and what I didn't.
Good one.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you, Barbara. Dee Dee, you're up. Margaret, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. So Jack, Robert, and all of you, this is a divine evening. That's the word the only word I can think of. It's divine. Thank you. This is called When Anger. When anger overshadows hope and the world's mayhem plunders peace. When you no longer find solace in beauty and the joy of nature disappears. When the news becomes your only diet and the poisons begin to do their work. When your caring heart no longer cries and you have no wisdom to impart. You are in a place of almost no return. Grab hold of anything that makes you cry. Embrace it. Hold it close. Ask yourself if you know why you no longer have the strength to battle. If anything is worth the effort. If giving up is what you need, give yourself permission. You are allowed to quit, but make the quitting temporary. The world is crying with you, and it's crying for you. To fight a peaceful war, a war against the evil that is running with the prize. Join the race against hatred, grab the stick, and bring it home.
Thank you. As always, thank you so much. So thoughtful. All right, Margaret, you're up, and Phil, you're on deck.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Robert, and thank you, Jack. I too am going to read from the Long Island Sounds. This one's titled Numbers. There's a reason why we don't remember their names. There's a reason why we forget their faces. There's a reason why victims are ones we honor. There's a reason why survivors are ones we respect. There's a reason why these problems aren't ours. There's a reason why these excuses aren't pardoned. There's a reason why a next school shooting or massacre will not reclaim you. Yes, you, the one who's giving us the signs, the one showing us red flags. This realization, we aren't going to remember your name. We will forget your face. We won't sympathize with your problems. We will not excuse you with labels you allowed society to place upon you. You will only become a number. Isn't that enough reason to place down the guns, to put your problems beside them? Even Hitler's not remembered for how he died. Who were the Columbine shooters? Sandy Hook, Uvalde, Virginia Tech, Buffalo, Denver, Nashville, Lewiston. Yeah, I forgot their names too.
Oh,
Thank you, Margaret. All right. Okay, Phil, the stage is yours.
Good evening. Alone, while her babes are asleep, the battered voice within her speaks. I'm glad the night has finally dawned. The day stood tall much too long. At last, the sun has stopped staring, and the birds have ceased their song. My secret the full moon will not share. My bruises, mute night will cover. At last I may lay bare and spill my tears from the assault of another.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I'm going to share one tonight. I don't usually, but I'm going to do one tonight. The Grand Tetons rising beside us, aspens bursting with reds and yellows in the fall sun, September breezes warm, but with a hint of what is coming soon. A young bear munches berries, preparing for his winter slumber, and I ask our Wyoming guide about the wolves brought back here to lands from which they had been banished. The wolves here mean we have more fish, he says, without jest or hesitation. I watch the bear shimmy down the tree and forage in the brush below. More fish, I ask skeptically. When the wolves were gone, the elk herds grew large and ate the trees the beavers need to build the dams the fish spawn in. No wolves, no trees, less beaver, less dams, less fish. The wolves chase elk, the trees grow strong, more beavers, more dams, more fish. We silently watch an eagle circle above, dive to the river below, and surge to the heavens, a fish in its talons. All right, everybody. Well, thank you all so much. Let's have a nice round of applause for our two features, Jack and Bob. And thank you all for yet another open mic that didn't make me want to open a vein. I appreciate that very much. Y'all did wonderfully. It was very entertaining. So we look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks. And thank you all very much for coming out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all.